When it comes to note-taking on this latest line of Onyx devices, it's a little overwhelming if you just first starting out. There's a lot of stuff here. Today, we're going to go through every single one of these options. If you want to see the comprehensive review, you can watch that on our YouTube channel. This is just going to be note-taking. Here's the pen. We'll just start off with it. It is a different pen than the Air. It's shorter, it has different colors, and it is using different nibs, and the top portion is different as well. These are the regular note nibs. They're nothing special, they're just the standard plastic nibs. The Air pen is the one that comes with the first gen Note Air. And this is the one with the conical nibs, the one that is super high accuracy and super low latency. When we say it's low latency, that basically means it's very fast. Latency is a way of talking about delay. So let's erase current layer. We'll show you that whole thing there. So we got that there too. Now we also have some questions from everyone. Does everything work on it? Well, we're going to test some weird pens and just all sorts of pens. We have the Reinkstone pen, that works. We have the Top Joy pen, that one works. Do the erasers work? The eraser doesn't seem to work on the Top Joy, but it does work on the Reinkstone. We have a Big Me pen. This is actually a really cool pen. You can charge it with micro USB and it has Bluetooth enabled. But the pen works as is and it does have pressure sensitivity. Everything has pressure sensitivity. Supernote pen with ceramic nib. They have a new layer over this unit, so the ceramic nib can be used, but it is not recommended, we have to say. Now this guy, yes, the Lamy, one of the most premium pens out there, pretty high price point and customizable. This one has my name on it, literally. And it has a button on it too. So the pen itself works, and the button works as well. We're set to stroke eraser right now. How about this, guys? How about the Good Eraser? Well, we have that as well. The Good Eraser works perfectly fine on here. So we have confirmed that the Lumi is pretty much a check mark across the board when it comes to functionality of all the pens in the industry. I like the Air pen, but we're not going to use it. We are only going to use the stock pen. Now, this does kind of come at a disadvantage because it doesn't have an eraser, nor does it have a side button. So let's just go through everything here. This will collapse the corners, and you can choose to collapse or expand. If you expand it, you get this little micro one. So you can go ahead and click that to bring it all back. Clicking Notepad right here will allow you to edit the name of it or save it. If you click here, it actually goes back. This is the first time anyone has ever done this. You can customize up to 5 individual pens. You can have fountain pen with line thickness. You can have a pencil with a medium gray and a thin liner. You can have the fine line. You can have the highlighter. You can have the paintbrush. All of this is completely customizable, and you can save your quick access pens. So without pressing any buttons, you can go from that pen to this pen to that pen just by using the top bar. Fujitsu does this with a way to key map your pen, but this one actually takes it 5 steps further. Unfortunately, we have to use an eraser because there is no eraser on this unit. So let's look at the pens itself. We have pen, we have brush, ballpoint pen, pencil, and marker. No, the pencil does not have tilt, but it does have a very nice graphite-y type look. There are 16 colors, 3 of which don't show up individually because blue, green, and red are only used for when you export, because these are going to be the same shades of gray, but everything else will be different shades of gray. White will just be an eraser. You can move your line width here, and you can see it up above. If you have an Onyx account, you can tap that and you can sync this to your Onyx account and view it on other devices that you are logged into. This simply tells you how many pages you have. If you go back, you'll be 3 out of 4 and you have all your previous pages. If you go forward, you'll be 4 out of 4. If you want a quick thumbnail of everything you've done, you click there and you see everything right here. You can copy, you can stamp, you can shuffle them around, and you can share them. You can also click something and you can do something individually with it. For example, if we want to delete it, we'll delete just that page, or you can select multiples to do so. You can also click this and change the name of the page itself. Just the page right here, you can change that. If you want to set the page as your cover, you can actually do that as well. You go like this, set the page as your cover, and then when you look at your thumbnail, it'll be that page. Layers used to be kind of revolutionary, but a lot of people do it now. It's still good. I'm not going to discount it. You can add 5 layers plus a template layer. How layers works is if you choose layer 4, for example, and choose, sure, a pencil. We're going to draw like this. I'll draw a circle, little cylinder, done. Now we go over here and we say layer 3. Well, layer 3, I'm going to draw like this. Oh no, I've made a mistake. So if you take your eraser now and you're on layer 3, this is layer 4, you'll see that anything you erase isn't actually being affected because you're only on the working layer. And this is very useful because you don't have to actually erase everything all the time. So there are 5 layers plus the template layer, which basically is just another layer, so 6 in total. This is interesting. This is canvas stretch. For example, we're on 1 by 1, so we just have one panel. If I want to stretch it vertically or horizontally or side by side or custom or canvas adjustment, I can do that here. For example, if I click on this, I now have an extended canvas. You'll see right here a mini map shows up. So if I go like this, there's my canvas right here. You can actually extend your canvas and choose which direction and how you want to extend it. Moving on to some geometric shapes. This is really cool. A lot of people do shapes. In fact, the Ellipsa does shapes where you make a shape with your pen and it makes that shape perfectly. They have a lot of options here. You have squiggles, lines, arrows, you have circle, square, triangle, trapezoids, or rhombus, I don't know which one's which, pentagon, hexagon, and you have the style of line, whether you want dash, dot, or dash, dot, dash, etc. You get the idea. So I can choose these little dots, make it really big, and choose a pentagon, for example, and now I have a dotted pentagon. That is extremely useful if you're doing drafting and then you say maybe I want a solid line, thick lined pentagon to compare. Now you have your 2 pentagons, and then you can go back to here and you can say let's make some arrows now, and you've drawn your blueprints and you're just making reference to all these arrows and you say this point and this point. It is so quick and so intuitive that there's no learning curve. It's just you pick an arrow, you pick the line style, then you just start writing. They can all be chosen into different line thicknesses, and all of the colors transfer down from the top palette to the side palette. Now this is a little bit of a downside with Onyx pens. A lot of their pens now don't have erasers, so you have to use something with an eraser, like pull out a Lamy or something and dedicate that to be an eraser, or use other things that are eraser only digital stationery, but this doesn't actually have one. So if you do have some stuff on the screen, you have something over here, something over there, something over there. You got a lot of choices here for eraser, all of which utilize the nib. So actually you're going to be wearing down this nib pretty hard because you're using it so often. You have mobile eraser, which allows you to scrub. You have stroke eraser, which deletes the entire stroke. And you have area eraser, which will delete an dedicated area. So I could just go like that and it'll delete right there. This one is important. Erase current layer, or please be careful, erase all layers. This will erase everything on all of these. You do have an undo, but you have to be careful because there's not a final warning before you do it. It'll just say erase all layers and they're all gone. So be very careful between which one you choose there. Before we continue to go to the Lasso tool, we're going to skip ahead because look at all the staining on the screen. There's a lot. So you can skip ahead and go down here and do a full refresh. That's going to wipe everything away super clean. It's going to be super clean after that. So we're going to go ahead and grab, let's say, a marker. We're going to draw a very nice box like this. Box. I now grab my pencil and I do some shading, and you're saying to yourself, wow, I did a lot there. I don't want to have to lose that, or I don't want to, do it all over again. So you can grab your Lasso tool. You can circle that. Now you've grabbed it, and even though you circled around it, it captured the actual dimensions. This is really useful because you can copy it, you can stamp it, you can compress it, you can even change the dimensions of it as well. So a lot of devices only allow you to really expand it or subtract it or contract it, I guess. But this one you can actually stretch it and change the dimensions. So what I'm going to do is I can actually copy it, and now that I have it on my copy palette, I can go ahead and stamp it. So I've just duplicated it. So now I can save one on reserve, and you can actually go to another page and you can stamp it there. And then you can say, okay, this one is going to be my perfect one and these will be my working ones. So this is really nice because you're now able to take something super technical that took a long time and instantly save it and maybe stash it away somewhere so you can have a resources page. You can have a page that you only use to reference things to maybe plug them back in later. There's a lot of zoom options as well. You do have pinch and zoom, but you also have zoom out, zoom in, free scaling, pinch to zoom, fit the screen, and fit the canvas. Zoom out and zoom in will just zoom. Free scaling is going to be, you can choose an area and it'll zoom into that. Look, it shows you the pixels. That's how good it zooms in. You can also go back to zoom and pinch to zoom. This will just be pinch and zoom. You can turn it on. You have to make sure your touch is not disabled, and from there you can pinch and zoom. It's pretty good even on normal mode, and a mini map does show up on the right. You can go back here and we can go fit the screen. So we can fit the screen now, or we can fit the canvas, and we can fit just the canvas that we see right now. This is the final thing you can do, is a zoom slider. You can zoom to the moon and back 1600 times, and you have to reference this mini map because you're gonna have to crawl over to your Picasso here, and there we go. But the beauty about this is it's finally fast enough to be able to manage a zoom level like this. So now that I'm here, I can go super fine. I can go maybe my ballpoint pen fine liner, zoom out a little bit, and make my intricate notes like this. This has to be one of the most customizable writing slates we've ever seen. Look what this can do. Okay, believe it or not, we're only halfway through. This is just endless. It's a beautiful problem to have. So we have the ability to take notes, but not only that, with the keyboard, we can handwrite our notes. So I can write is, and it's going to throw is over there. And I can write very, and now it'll throw very over there. And I can write cool. And it'll throw cool over there. So you can use your handwriting on your physical hand to put in your notes. Not only that, without doing any sort of setup, you can voice dictate. I'm going to voice dictate onto this Onyx product. And there you go. You have now voice dictated, typed, and used your handwriting to take some notes, all within the note-taking app. This is good and bad at the same time. The voice recording button, when you press it, it starts right away, so there's no lead up, so just please keep that in mind. For example, I can go like this. I'm going to start talking into the Onyx, and I'll play it back in 1 second. I'm going to press that. I can name it recording 1, whatever I want to call it. Now you can't actually trigger it with the pen, because the pen is just going to write. You have to use your fingertip. I'm going to start talking into the Onyx, and I'll play it back in 1 second. You can go ahead and pause that. You can do the drop down, and this will manage your recordings. You can delete it, you can export it, you can share it, you can fast forward it. There's a lot you can do with pretty much every single thing here. We're going to move on to handwriting recognition now, but we have to clear our canvas. So we're going to go to the delete, and we're going to go delete all layers in our current state because we want to get everything out of the way. Now you'll notice it actually doesn't delete the recordings. You have to do that yourself. You can long press it, and then you can press the delete, or you can do it from the manage recording menu. So we're going to choose a pen, and we're going to write something on the screen. I will write my name, and I'm going to do it there, and I'm going to do it here, and we'll show you why in a second. They have 2 ways to do handwriting conversion. When you click AI, you can do original recognition, in which case it's going to change them where they are on the canvas, like so, right there. And you can go back and you can do it again and change it to reflow, in which case it's going to justify it to the top left corner. And from there you can start writing with the keyboard, or dictation, or handwriting, or what have you. A lot of stuff you can do with that. This one is touchscreen disabled. You can disable it or enable it. Usually you don't have to disable it. Reason being, it's so accurate you can put 5 fingers on the screen and still write and still erase. So usually there's not too much of a reason to disable the touchscreen. It's just as a pleasantry, maybe if your hand starts a little bit overactive and it triggers too many things, maybe you do some pinch and zooms or you move things around. It's just there as a safeguard. Right here is where you can add a page. It just adds a page here, but that's the same thing as pressing this way. It'll just add a page regardless. You can go down here to search and you can start typing something in, like my name, for example, and then I click search. It'll go and search the entire thing and say, okay, on page number 6, there is where you've mentioned it, and then I can go over to that page and there is where it is written in case you forget what you've taken a note and where it is. Alternatively, you can go and do the peek here and kind of find where you've written your stuff, like these ones up top, for example. Finally, you saw it before, but down here on the corner, you have more things. So you have full refresh. That will just wipe everything away in the background that has any sort of staining, and it'll just completely fresh it. Now you have delete current page. You can delete the current page and it will go away. You also have save. You can save all your notes in case there's something that goes bad and while you're working you run out of batteries, etc. Very rarely will it happen, and when you go back it automatically saves anyways. You can undo and redo. If I don't want that O, I can get rid of it via the undo, and if I want to bring it back, I can do redo. This isn't too useful for single things, but if I've just done this thing where I haven't lifted the pen off for such a long time, and I say, oh no, I've undid it, and that was all one stroke, you can bring that back to life by going to redo. Furthermore, you do have export. Export is very interesting because you can do a single page as an image or the entire notebook as a PDF, but you can't do the entire notebook as a PNG image. You'll have to do page by page. A small price to pay, but that is the reality. Share. You can share with anything on your device. So if you had Instagram, Facebook, Outlook, Google Drive, you simply click share. You'll find all of the apps on your device like so, Bluetooth, Nearby Share, Onyx Mail, etc. You want to email to yourself all these edited documents. If you're signing documents, you can make it easy and just do that. Insert images is great. You click on something, it scans your device as to where the pictures are, you click the little check mark, and now you've placed it. If you have stamped it and you're worried about clicking out and you say, oh no, it's too late, I gotta redo everything. No, it is an interactable element. They're never gonna de-interact it. So that's the beauty of that. Once you click it like that, you can go and basically do whatever you want. You can edit it, you can draw super fast speed lines, you can go he's screeching out, and you have the ability to write right over that anywhere you want, and you can place it on any layer. Recordings, we already showed you, that's where you manage your recordings, and you have sidebar position as well. If you're left-handed, that'll look better like that. You can flip it over right there if you want to go back. Finally, we have customize the toolbar. You can put things wherever you want them. For example, if share is a huge thing for you, or you're inserting a lot of images, you can add it to the sidebar, and the sidebar will scrunch up a little bit. And maybe you say, well, I never add a page because the little arrow at the top is add a page. You can get rid of that and give yourself some more room. You can completely cater it to the way you want it to look. That is everything. You can also edit in PDFs, you can do split screens, you can edit ebooks. There's a ton of stuff you can do on these units. It is unbelievable how much stuff there is. There's a lot. It all depends on the amount of apps you have. You can use a bunch of pens. You can use other digital stationery to erase what you've done. It is probably the most customizable experience we've ever seen with anything running e-paper. The amount of pens, the amount of colors, it's ridiculous. It's a little bit overwhelming, the amount of settings, but once you get used to it, you're going to have a good time, and there's nothing this can't do. All of this packed in with a beautiful glow light as well. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.